Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
We have some red folders at 9:30, core retail sales and retail sales basically for the US dollar. So be aware of that. At 8:30, we may start seeing some moves with the US dollar somewhere around, anywhere between 8 o'clock and 8:30, you may start seeing some moves. And then here at 10 o'clock later on tonight, that looks like the Chinese, I think that is, that'd be the Chinese, I think. And we're not going to pay much attention to that right now, other than the fact their markets do have some effect on the world markets. But other than that, that's about the only news. So just basically 8:30 is the time we have to be aware of. And let's see, what else do we have here? And for the correlation today, right now we're looking at, it looks like the dollar is getting stronger today. So we have some strength on the dollar, weakness on the Euro, Swiss, and New Zealand. And that seems to be pretty much Euro, Swiss, New Zealand weak, dollar strong, CAD strong. So we're looking at the strength of the Canadian, US, and Aussie, it looks like. Japan also looks like a little bit strong today. And so we're looking at Canadian strength, Aussie strength primarily. Maybe the yen may pop its way up to the top there, and Euro and New Zealand weakness. So if we get any of those alerts on any of those pairs or currencies of those pairs, we'll take a look at that and see where the strength is and what we're looking at for direction. Let's go to the charts. And we'll see what kind of alerts we have. We have at 7:30, we really didn't get any 15-minute alerts. It looks like we have a 30-minute alert on the Aussie New Zealand. I'll take a peek at that one and see. That one looks like it's in an uptrend, up arrow anyway. Let's see what kind of trend it is. So we have and what I'll do is I'll mark the arrow on the higher time frame. We'll see if there's anything on the lower time frame that may give us a clue as to what it's doing. So here's where the arrow was. That's close of, here's the arrow, is a close. So it's the close of that candle. So we have it at the top of this. This looks like it's in a little bit of a pullback from where it was.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
CB said you can bring him over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go and bring him. We don't want to let him out here. We like having him around. Okay. And good morning, CB.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning,
CB.
So
Morning.
Looks like we have on the 15, that's 30-minute chart. Let's go to the 15-minute chart on this one. We did get a 15-minute, we did have an alert all the way down here on this. This would have been a much nicer entry. Here's the bounce, there's the arrow. But by the time we got on the 30-minute, it's already past past where we would want to be getting in for sure. Here's where we would have gotten it on a 15-minute. We did have a 15-minute alert, and that was at, let's see what time that was. That would have been at the open of the C12, be the open of the 5 o'clock candle is when we had that alert. That was right in the middle of the London session. Here's the money zone right here. We did have a nice big move overnight. Wow, that was a big move. Here's the daybreak, went all the way up into the zone, big drop last night. But that was before the money zone, which has been about 1 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. That move was already gone, and that's about it. You would not have been able to get a overnight money zone breakout because the breakout already happened way before then. But anyway, right now we have a little area up here in the. Coming up to retesting the zone. Let's see what the direction is in this pair. Right now, we're going to zoom out, it's in a downtrend, so we can put a down arrow in for signifying the trend. We have an up arrow, downtrend. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Maybe I'll get something with a bounce. And that's the Aussie New Zealand. The New Zealand, like we said, the New Zealand is weak, and the Aussie is stronger on the higher time frames. So with that being said, that the Aussie is stronger, as the Aussie is the first currency of the pair. We expect it to have strength to the upside. And if that starts to switch around, but this is a contra trend move. So ideally we want to see it get a downtrend with a down arrow. So the fact that this all happened overnight, I'm probably stay away from that. That seems like they had a lot of volatility in that last night. Bitcoin seems to be pulling down a little bit. We'll just take this one off the chart for right now. We're not really trading that today, right now. And US Swiss, it has some, this was some of the alerts that were earlier this morning. And here's one that just happened. Let's see, we're on a 15-minute chart. This is about half an hour ago. And we have a bounce right up into the zone. Let's see what the direction is on this one. Zoom in. We're in a downtrend. And we have a down arrow. Put it right by this zone. And we'll see if any of these zones go away, then we will move the arrow. But this tells us if the uptrend gets stronger as it starts taking out these zones, we know the uptrend may be starting to take a hold. But right now it's still in a downtrend. Very strong downtrend, I may say. And let's see, what else do we have here? No other alerts that I'm looking at. Any questions in the process? Is there a way we can get the correlation indicator that you use on the TradingView? Yes, email me. I'll put the email into the chat box.
I'll put it in for you, Al.
You'll put it in? Okay, thank you. Yeah, email me. We're running into some problems of trying to figure out how to make it accessible isn't the problem. The problem is trying to figure out how to make it streamlined so it doesn't complicate things for everybody. And we're kind of having a glitch with the website, and then also with the availability of the developer to be able to. The thing with that indicator is going to have to be manually loaded into the TradingView platform with your usernames. And so we need to have the developer needs to keep control of the script on it. So he needs to do all the loading, but his time is somewhat limited. He's has another business that he's working, and his time is limited. So basically what we're looking at is he's only going to be able to spend a little time on a Sunday to get everything loaded up. And we just want to make sure that when people click on the button to get it, that they don't have to wait too long to make that happen. But we may have to make that compromise if we can't figure it out. But hopefully we'll have something before the end of this week to share with everybody. But just email me at trademasters@gmail.com. It will put you on the list. And the moment it gets to become available, and we know that things are going to be working, we will get an email out to everybody so you can get the links to get things loaded up. So we just want to make sure it's somewhat of a seamless thing for people so it's not too frustrating for everybody. And that's really what the holdup has been right now. So, but I do have a running list, and as soon as we have that available, we'll get it to everybody. Any other questions? Yeah, let's see. Well, let's see. Let's just take a look at some of the other pairs. Let's look at the Canadian dollar is strong to New Zealand. Let's take a look at the Canadian dollar and New Zealand. New Zealand CAD, maybe? New Zealand CAD. Let's take a look at that on a 15-minute chart. This one could be a possibility. The CAD is strong to the New Zealand. We have a small little zone right here on the 15-minute zone. We did have an arrow right here at about 15 minutes ago. That must have been before we got started. That would be right about here. Here's the zone. Here's the breakout. We do have a zone right here. So if we get, question is, are we going to get a bounce? We do have a trend line. We're looking like we did get a break of this trend line. If we could, I'm looking at this this pivot right here that generated the zone. I come over here and see where this move started, and I'm looking at a candle this candle right here to align with that one. So I'm going to draw my trend line from the beginning of this move to this candle and align it and see where the breakout was. Now, if it breaks out and comes back and retests that trend line and everything still looks in the right direction, we could have a trade here. So here's the anchor, strong move up, came back down, retested it, strong move up again, and came back down, broke the trend line, and now it's coming back down to retest this level right in here. So right now we know that there's some buyers that came in right around this point is where the buyers came in. So this is the area that it's in right now. If it can break this would be the next area that I'd be looking at. And I'd be looking at this as being a target. This would be looking at a target. And see how much range we have. If it can, from this point to here, we have 7 pips. There's a good chance it could come down and retest this one. It's too close right now. If I could have gotten in up here, I probably would have taken that trade if I had seen that alert. But if it can break through this little zone right here, then we'd have this area, and this is about 18 pips to the downside from where it is right now. So, but we have to try and be able to get through that. Let's take a good look on a smaller, lower time frame. We'll take a look at the 5-minute and see what that looks like. This is one we just sort of pulled out just from looking at the overall strength of the trends. This zone we got on the 5-minute. We have quite a bit of quite a few barriers right in this area. So nothing to trade right at this point. Just looking at it. But we can keep our eye on that one. I'll put this back on a 15-minute chart and we can scan this one later on. And here's a S&P 500. So the indexes are on a 5-minute chart, generally speaking. This is not the prime time to be trading the indexes unless you're trading futures. And I'm not seeing an arrow. Why do we have a
No, either. I didn't get that notification either.
Yeah, I got this, but I didn't get an arrow. That's
CB, did you get either one of?
I got the same thing. I saw the 5-minute S&P and then I went to the chart and there's no arrow there.
huh.
Yeah, I didn't even get the notice. I don't have the desktop set up yet, but I didn't even get the notice on the old alert system.
Right. So yeah, because that this is one of the dashboard issues because you obviously you just have a chart open, right, Ava, for S&P?
Well, I went to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no arrow.
No arrow.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is happening occasionally where we get false alerts on the dashboard.
Yeah.
Better a false alert than missed alerts, right?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I think we get a little of both right now.
Yeah. And I guess if that's the case, it is. I mean, it's something I'm sure they're going to keep working on, but it's not a huge deal. It wouldn't be enough to not have some reliability on this thing. Because bottom line, it still has to stay. I mean, the alerts get you to the chart, and it's up to us to decide whether or not the trade is a tradable trade or not, based on whatever strategies or techniques that you generally use. Anyway, strong move up on this, basing right here, going sideways. Remember, there is an announcement at 8:30 with the US dollar. And I'm going to put that over here if I can. Let's see. And then I'm going to make this a little different color here. Vertical line, and we'll make this one yellow for cautionary thing. Make it a little thicker, and I'll make it. Oops, I guess I can't do that. Make it.
It's funny how now you got an arrow on that chart and there's nothing on the dashboard.
Huh. Well, now I just moved it.
That's
Well,
funny.
no, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, we just got it just now. And there's nothing on the dashboard. You're right. So basically, when this 5-minute candle, this next 5-minute candle, actually the dashboard alerted us to it early.
Well, the dashboard gave us a sell.
Oh, is that what it? Oh, that's what it did give us a sell, didn't it? And now it's got a buy. That's interesting. And actually, as soon as this candle came in with the buy, the dashboard went away. This one came up, but it didn't give us anything. I wonder if there's something to that. Well, anyway, we're not taking this trade. Take that off. Here's a break. Now this is back to that New Zealand CAD. This is one we just sort of pulled out of our hat by looking at the that chart that I was looking at earlier. Came back, broke it, came back down. This is a big wick right here, which means it came back down. Now it's coming back up, looking for some maybe more sellers possibly. This could be a nice little move. New Zealand CAD. Let's see if I look at the chart here. New Zealand is still weak. CAD is weak here. CAD is stronger on the 15-minute, still weak. New Zealand's still weak. CAD is stronger. CAD is stronger. So we're looking at the strength to the downside on this one. Where did my chart go here? Let's see if I don't want to lose this. So this could be, I must be willing to take this one. Here's a bounce arrow, and it's coming back to retest this. I think I'm okay with taking this one. We have strength to the CAD, which is the second currency of the pair. It's strength to the downside. And we're going to go for 5 pips. So I'm going to sell. And we're going to go for 5. Or actually 7. And I'm going to put this at a 15 pip stop. I'm going to put this at a 7 pip target. Click on the blue, click on the red, and set my trade. And right now you can see it already came back down 5 pips, but it does have the downside. So my stop is way up here. If it comes back and closes, we have our moving average coming down. We had the break of the trend line, and it just retested. That was the first target there. It came back up, still retesting the trend line again. That was a strong move away and came back and still found some more sellers right up in this area. I'm okay with taking this trade to the for a 7 pip move. See if it comes down and takes this one out. I'm going to go to a 5-minute chart and see what we have on a 5-minute chart. Came right down to the green zone. Looks like I did it twice. Let's see where our trend is here. It is showing an uptrend on the 5-minute. Let's see what it does on the 15. Still showing uptrend on the 15 as well, looks like. So it's going to be a little bit of a problem getting through there, but we still may get another test of this area. I'm going to give that one a shot. I can give it a lot of room. I could probably even tighten my stop up a little bit to, I'd probably let my stop be somewhere around in this area, my visual stop. This is where I was going to be saying if it comes back up to break this line, right, this moving average, that means it's probably starting to change directions a little bit. I do like the fact it broke this trend line. I like the fact this thing is still pointing down. Came off of this zone with a bounce. There's the arrow. And we can look for the next zone right here. So I'm okay with this one. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We'll keep an eye on it. Any questions of what we did there? And let me go and put our secondary trend line, our 200 moving average in there. And that'd be this one right here. There's 200 moving averages way down here, so there's a lot of room to the downside of this one. This could very well break through this zone and come all the way down into here. It is starting to curl around, so we have downward pressure. We have upward pressure on the higher time frame, but it's way down here. And looking at this, again, we're looking at this trend from this pivot low to where this strong move up. Here's the pullback. Here's a pivot low, strong move up. Connect the dots. And here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the breakout. Here's a retest. Pass and check. Come back, retest it. Now we're looking for it to come back down and see if it can make a new low. And if it comes back and breaks back up into this area right in here, then I'll probably want to be getting out and rethinking this whole move. This is a little drop, a little basing right here. It dropped, came back to retest the base. So I'm looking at this area as a area that's it's going to have to get through this area right here before it's going to break to the upside. So that's one of our brick walls right there. If it can break through the top of this, then I'll get out of this trade, take a small loss. Any questions what we did?
No questions.
Today's the last good day of the week for trading. Tomorrow's a real iffy day. Mondays and Fridays are iffy days because there's a lot of positions are taken on a Monday, and a lot of them are taken and closed out by Thursday or Friday early. So this is today's going to be one of the better trading days, primarily for the week, generally speaking. Fridays are not usually as. If you have profits for the week, don't give them back tomorrow, or don't give them back today. If you have your weekly target, don't trade anymore. Don't get greedy, I guess they say. Let's see, what else are we looking at? The British pound is getting strong. New Zealand's still basically weak, and the euro is basically weak. So let's take a look at the euro pound. Let's see what that one looks like. So when you don't get any alerts, you can always, that's one nice thing about that little heat map is you can look and see what are the opposing, which one's strong, which one's weak, and see if you can find something. A lot of times we can find something before we actually get the alert. Let's see, pound. Let's go pound, euro, euro, pound. Pound, euro, pound right here. Go with that, take that on the 15-minute. And you can see it's got a strong move down coming in. It's not too far from the zone. The British pound should be stronger, which gives us the room to the downside. Let's see what the overall trend is on this one. Trend is basically up, so we should have an up arrow right in here. So we have to get through this. Maybe go on contra trend if we took it short. Right now we're just hunting for trades until we get another alert. And here's a little bit of a wedge right here. We had a bounce. Here's a high, here's a low, here's a lower high, here's a higher low. And so we have a little flag right in here. And we can see if we can make something out of this one. Here's a little wedge right there, bottom of the wedge. There's our playground. We did have a break. It didn't close. So I don't like the fact it didn't close. It did break this, but it couldn't close below this area right here. Plus you have this, it already came down in the zone, was rejected. Came back down, not as deep, it was rejected again. And we'll see how that close, where that candle close, where we get a candle close on this one. It's trying to break through the bottom. Let's see how much room we have to the green zone. If this candle closes in about another, so 4 more minutes on this candle before it's going to close. But from this point to here, we have, that's only 5 pips, not enough room to take a trade. If I go to a 5-minute chart on this one, you see it bounce. Now we have a 5-minute green, 5-minute candle. Wouldn't want to be taken. This one would be more, this one's be more in line with the trend. Another trend line you can look at on the 5-minute. The tighter the earlier you can, the smaller the time frame, like the 5-minute versus the 15, the earlier you can get into the trade. The downside of that is the earlier you get into the trade, you may get whipsawed a little bit more. You can get your earlier break, but you also sometimes you get something that isn't really ready to break, and it just gets you a momentary push to the one side, and then you find out it wasn't the one you wanted anyway. So it's a balancing act between which time frame you want to be looking at on some of these things. Aussie, how's our trade here doing? New Zealand CAD. Still kind of fighting this little area right in here. It's sort of like hunting. You just have to be patient, sit there and wait for the trade to come to you. Don't try and make something that's not. Let's see what else we could look at. The yen is starting to gain a little bit more strength. So Aussie yen, let's try to look at the Aussie yen. That might be an earlier one. I like looking, starting off with a 15-minute chart. Move this over. And the Aussie is stronger than the they're still kind of fighting each other here a little bit. Let's see what the direction of this one is. That's about even on the 2 green, 2 red. Not much range. Other fact, right now it's looking like we'd be range bound inside of this. Let's see what kind of range we have before. If we have from current price to the target, 9 pips, still not enough to the downside. That'd be a good, if we can get a crossover of this to the downside, that might be a good little trade, possibly. Could be a possibility. Here's the overnight high. Here's an overnight low. It did get a break right up into the zone. This would be a good indication that it could come up to the zone and then break to the downside. See where our 200 moving average is. And it's way down here. So if we can get this thing to break this moving average, this one's starting to flatten out. We had a strong move. It's moving up. You can see it's starting to curl over and flatten out. If we can get it close to the downside, this would be a strong move up. Here's the pullback. Right now, we don't know where the bottom of that pivot's going to be, but we could start with a couple of things here. We have this. We can project that's going to be, if we get the break over the moving average and this trend line, again, that would be your first hit on that one. And then we have another trend from this move up. You see, usually a lot of times you'll see we're sort of like just kind of nice, gentle curve. This is really the first major pullback from the move. It came back down, pulled back a little bit, came up, retested this area, pulled back, and now it's coming up to retest this one. This could be a nice little move to the downside. Where we had the first rejection, came back up, made a new high, right up into the zone. This could give us a nice little, if we get an arrow to the downside, that might be a nice little trade. So we have anything on the 5 minute. We did get the rejection here. Here's our bounce arrow. Again, this is on a 5 minute chart, so we have to be aware of the fact what our expectations are on this. Here's our trend. It started to build a little bit of a wedge. If we can break through here, we could come down and maybe we'll get a few pips out of this one. Not enough to there, not enough to the 5 minute 200 moving average. A little too tight on that one. And here we go. We're going to say New Zealand yen. Let's take a look at that one. And so again, we're looking at to see what the direction of the move is. We are in an uptrend. And we are just past the 8 o'clock hour, which means we're allowed to take contra trend trades at this point in time. This would be a contra trend trade. Again, the expectation should be a little bit less on that. Here's the entry right about where the price is right now. But I don't think we have the room to the target. I would have to get all the way, I like to see it come all the way up and retest this moving average in order to get any pips out of this target. From the price where it is right now, you only be looking at, you could maybe get 8 pips if it goes to the full range to the, if we can get a little bit of a, more of a pullback on this, that would be a little bit better. Let's go to 5 minute chart and see what it looks like. Come over here, look at the heat map. New Zealand yen. The yen is strong, into the upper third. New Zealand is still in the lower, so we're still looking at yen strength. So that would be if it's a New Zealand yen pair. The yen is stronger, so we're looking to the downside. Again, it doesn't have a lot of room to the target, even on the 5 minute chart. You have a nice little trend going right down here. I'd like to see a little stronger pullback. The more it can pull back, the more likely you are to maybe get in, especially if this moving average gets, it could test, I'd like to see it test this moving average before I were to take it short. This would be the target. I'd say I want 15 pips to the target before I get into the trade. That's pretty much testing the trend line. So this, anytime this, if this candle can come up to around this area, it would be able to maybe take a short, a trade short on this one. There's a little bit of a wedge. Here's an anchor, here's a hit. Here's the trend line. I'd like to see it try and get it right into this little area. If it can come on up to there and still be in a downtrend with still strength to the yen, and be worth, that would give you enough range to be able to take this trade. Right now it's I said wait for it to come to you. Let's see what it looks like on a 1 minute chart here. You see it still has a little bit of push to the upside, so coming and retest, looking like it's trying to break through this little red zone and test this. It's got another red zone right above it. If it can break through this one and this area holds, we could maybe have a nice trade to the downside. And here's New Zealand yen on the 1 minute for a buy. I don't want to take a buy on this. It's still
So while we're waiting around now, you want one little quick arrow dashboard tip for people?
sure.
Do you usually trade the .pro pairs, or do you just stay with the normal ones?
That's a good question. I think I've got mine set up on the .pro. But what is the difference, if I may ask, if you know the difference?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. So the .pro, you're gonna have tighter spreads with, like, if you do on a standard lot for a pair, the .pro is going to be about $1 more commission. So it'll be like, I think it's like $8 instead of $7, but you get tighter spreads. But the reason I'm bringing it up is if you want, what I'm doing now is I have two dashboard windows open. One window has all the non-Forex pairs. So I have, crypto and indices, gold, and even some stocks to look at.
Okay.
And then if you want the pro pairs instead of the regular pairs, you don't have to do what you're doing there necessarily. All you need to do is open up a .pro window to put the dashboard in.
Okay.
And it'll automatically load the .pro pairs.
Oh, is that right? Okay. That's good to know that.
So
now,
I have
will the .pro show on the symbols list, will show .pro?
Yeah. So so like, in other words, if you what I do is I have the one window that I have like my own pairs, which are all the non-Forex pairs I want to look at. Okay. And then for the Forex pairs, I open up a .pro window and just have it, do the default load of the 28 pairs. But because it's open in the .pro window, yep.
Okay, so I can close this now.
Yep.
And then I can come to my insert to get my view of the navigator.
Right.
And then I take the navigator and put arrow on.
First,
I got to do this.
First black it out.
Black it out.
Yep. And now
it doesn't really matter what time frame it is. Is that on this?
No difference.
And move this over here. And I set this up to all 28 pairs.
Yep. Just leave it like that.
Just leave it like that. And I need to put arrow.
You can change it. You might want to get rid of a couple of the time frames and then put arrow there. Oh. Yep.
Yeah, this is good to let people see how to do this.
Yep.
I'll move this back to, I'm just going to keep to the H1, and I can probably get rid of the 1 minute. I don't usually trade the 1 minute. I can always pull that up if I need to.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
So I got the 5, 15, 30, and 1 hour. Then come down here and where it says default, this is where I want to put arrow, right?
Yep, capitals.
AIRO.
You can change the average daily range to 10.
Average daily. Where
Yep.
is that?
No, you were right down there where it says 5 right now.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Move that to a 10.
And then make sure go to the Commons tab real quick and make sure you have everything checked.
I'll set up, check. I can check DLL. I guess doesn't really matter if this one's checked or not.
Yep.
And then I can
Do it.
save this as administrator, save, and I'm going to name this Arrow Pro. PRO. Save it and click OK. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of space here on the other chart here.
Yep. So you see now it automatically loads all the .pros instead of the regular ones for you there.
And then how do you set it up with it? Just sort of kind of overlay it like this?
Yeah, I just have the two, I just tile the two. And then when I open up charts, I just, the charts I just full open charts.
I should take this one off here. Take that, it gives us a little more room here. There's no way of scrolling this down, is there? Like to scroll to the
Well,
bottom?
I would hit the I know if you minimize the Kiwi Yen, just minimize that real quick. And oh yeah, you have a bunch of them open right now.
yeah, I tend to. Okay,
I see what you do. Well, if you tile that now, you'll have those two like that, and then you can just open the others on top of them when you're looking at charts.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But the one thing you can do, obviously, now those .pros will eventually populate. What's interesting is you're not, So if you were to click on any chart right now over there, if you click on that, is it not opening?
It's not opening.
Hmm.
And go smiley face. But you have both of these on separate.
You have the only difference right now is I'm almost wondering because you have the other pairs on the left side, the regular pairs on the left side. I'm wondering if the .pros. You see,
okay, let me see if I minimize that. See if that makes a difference.
No, it won't. That won't make a difference.
Al?
Yes.
Danielle in our chat said that maybe you hadn't clicked the OK when you opened the there was a part where you had to click OK to save it because you didn't save it.
Oh, that's right. I didn't do that.
Yeah, you just said load instead of save.
Oh,
right. Okay, let me try this again here.
I don't know. It's just something. Someone trying to help us out.
I'm guessing, Al, that maybe part of the issue right now is on the other dashboard that you have. You need to get rid of the Forex pairs and just because you don't need Forex on both your dashboards.
Okay. That's a thought. Okay, let me try that.
So if you
have the default word, okay. So we have that. Okay, let me go and get rid of the Forex pairs on the other one.
Right, because that's what I do. Because like you said, you run out of space. So I have the .pros open on one chart right now. And then on this one, I just have all the non-Forex stuff.
And what's the difference, guys, between the .pro pairs and the non.pro pairs?
So .pro gets you tighter spreads for a slightly higher commission.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the.
Well, if you just go to own pair, Al. Leave it that, and then sort of double click the own pairs and just down below, 2 down. Nope. Leave that. Double click on that, and just delete out all of the Forex pairs and just leave your your indexes and crypto or whatever else you want open there.
That should take care of that. Okay. And okay. That makes it a little smaller there. Still not doing it. I'm gonna have to play around with this later on today and see what we have.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So it seems like can wait. Oh,
I can do it. Put it back on.
yeah. I wonder if. Let me just look at one other thing here on mine. Symbols. When you go to the view the symbols. Pro.
You talking over here on the
Yeah, go to
marketplace?
view. Well, not there. Up above. Next to file up above.
The file up above. Oh, here.
Yeah, but no, you do have the .pro open down there. Yeah, it's weird that you're not that yours is there's. I'm not sure why yours isn't doing it because mine looks. I have more stuff open on one side, but the fact that your boxes are grayed out,
Yeah,
is
I'll tell you
odd.
what. I'm going to play around with this.
Yeah,
Different.
I thought it'd be a lot simpler.
Yeah, I thought so too. Well, it was a nice shot here. Let me put this back to own pairs. Let's see.
Yeah, see, the quick way to do this is go to own pairs. Wait, go down below. No, just leave that as it is for a second,
Okay.
and then highlight that entire own pairs thing and copy it.
Well, I took a lot of those off there, though.
No, I know that's what I'm showing you how to get back to where you were. If you just highlight that whole thing, you can kind of arrow to the one side. You need to highlight everything though.
Yeah, good. Slide it over here.
There you
Okay,
go.
so I need to highlight.
Now highlight it and copy it. Right click copy, and now go up above the pairs trading and go to the 28 Forex pairs.
All 28 pairs, and then paste this in here, and then go to own pairs.
Yeah, I thought that.
Gentlemen, if you look in the chat, there are a few people that are trying to help you out.
Oh, okay. You add the broker suffix to pros, broker instrument suffix pro. You need to add the broker suffix to pro.
No, you don't actually. It's the way mine's set up the way I showed you. It works
I'm just
without.
going to jump to 28 pairs and just go okay. So we get some of these in here and just call it a day for right now.
Yeah. Man, I messed you up, Al. Sorry.
That's right. It was a
it's interesting. Look,
gallant effort here.
There now it's working. They're populated.
Oh, okay. Well. All right. Well, let's see if we have anything to look at here. How's our trade?
I've been watching. There hasn't been anything exciting anyway.
How's our trade doing here? We got the New Zealand CAD. Let's pull that chart back up again. See if there's something we need to be looking at here. It is starting to give us a little heat on this. I think it wants to go, it's kind of like to go the upside, but I don't think it's done going down yet. Let's see, New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, gotta get the right chart up here.
Hey, I'll take a look at Australia USD when you have a chance. We have some news coming in 10 minutes, so we probably want to wait, but it's definitely a bag entry.
Okay. Aussie USD. 15-minute?
Actually, it's the 5-minute.
Yep, there we go. Yeah,
But
so
we we have USD news coming in 10 minutes, right?
Okay, yep. And this could drive it on up there. Aussie US. Aussie strong, US is weak. So we wanted strength to the upside. Here's a bag entry. So we got bounce, arrow. How much room do we have to the target here? There's 8 pips. You could probably, yeah. I'd like to have a little bit more, but
Yeah.
I'll bet it has strength to the upside though. Yep, strength to the upside. Oops, I didn't want to do that. You could maybe do a little bit of a breakout trade on this one. You have a strong move up. Here's a little bit of a flag. 5-minute chart, though. Keep in mind of that. Here's our high. Here's our first rejected point right in this area. There's a high. Here's the first hit. Continue the line down. Tag that line. And if it comes back up, and see if it has enough push to be able to close above this level right in here. This one's starting to curl around. This one's starting to point up. Let's see where our moving averages are. Load. And let's go with the 200. Let's see what 62 is. Here's the 200. And we have, this is a little curl right down. We got the 62 moving average. This would be okay for an up. You can't go for, if you take this trade, you can't go for a lot. It could break through the top of this, but it'd have to, I'd like to see it close above. We have a little trend line. Our trend line is coming right down here. There's the high. Here's the first rejection, came back up, retesting the trend line. It's starting to reject here. We have the arrow. And the arrow would be right at the open of this candle. And we have a trend line from, here's the origin, came back down. It has a little bit of a downward trend from this point to this one. But we also have the uptrend. I usually like seeing one violation of the up move, comes back down, violates, and then usually comes back up and retests oftentimes. So I like this one. I like this rejection here, and we have a little zone. I like the fact this pivot came up, came back down, and then this point got rejected on this down move. That means it's starting to tell me it's starting to lose a little bit of its strength. Stronger pullback to the trend line, to our moving averages. Our moving averages haven't crossed yet over here. 200 is still pushing up. I still think this thing could go into the upside, which would support this up arrow on this one. But right now it's pulling back to maybe launch to the upside. Here's where we could get that third hit of this trend line anchor. Here's the hit. This could be the third hit if it pulls back deep enough. If it can pull back without having these moving averages cross over, we could have a nice little trade to the upside. It won't give you a lot, but it's good to give you a little bit of a target. Again, if we use this as our target, we want to pull back for a 15-minute entry, 15 pip entry. So here's our target, and we want 15 pips before we enter. That would take us right back to a bounce off of this trend line. If it comes back to this trend line, you could take that trade to the long side. And the worst case scenario is it breaks through and comes back up and gets you out before it comes down and retests here. I would expect a bounce. If it does break this zone, I would expect a bounce off of this. That could be a 10 pip risk for a potential 15 pip target. And we're also looking at news here in another 4 minutes. So that we'll see how that moves this thing. I'm surprised I'm not getting more alerts today. Any questions?
No, there aren't any here.
Okay.
Allie, you muted?
No, I'm just being
Okay,
quiet right
all
now.
right. Just wondering.
I'd sing to everybody, but you wouldn't want to hear that. And
Never know.
sometimes you just have to stop talking and just keep watching the charts and seeing what it's doing here. Kind of keeping an eye on this one. I kind of like the fact it's bouncing off of this moving average right here.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have some, let's see, make sure the upside where we are here. We do have an up arrow. No, the direction is in the upside. I like it when it pulls back. If it can tag this zone, your best entry is going to be a tag off of the trend line, expecting to bounce. The problem is if it breaks through. The thing is, if you have room to the upside, and you can say, okay, if it breaks and comes back down, retest the zone, then just get out of the trade. Your risk to the downside is minimal, and your target to the upside is better. I do like the fact that this thing's coming down. It's respecting this area. And right now we're coming up on the news. 1 minute before the news, you can start seeing starting to get some activity going here. What I may do is I may try a buy stop. I'll show everybody how to do that again. Buy stop would be, actually take this off here. Trade buy stop. As soon as I do this, it's going to put it right in there. Let's see if I can move it down here a little bit. This nice little pullback is coming now. This is 1 minute before the announcement. The announcement should just be coming out right now. Pull back down to the trend line. And right now I have a buy stop set in. So I should be, if this thing shoots back up, it'll get me in, and this will be my target up here. And we'll see what it does. I like to just have it bounce off that trend line. So the trend line still seems to be holding. Moving averages seem to be holding. Now I'm probably just about ready to get into this trade. I just got into the trade. I'm going to put my stop and target on here. Modify 15 pip stop, 7 pip target. Now it's having to fight through this little trend line right here. So right now it's still bouncing around in between here. I am in this trade. You see how the price was low, it came right up and got into my stop, into my entry. And now the plan is I just could keep right on going. I had the first pullback before the announcement, got everybody looking to go short. And then it decided, then it takes everybody, got everybody in. Now it's taking everybody's stops. And it'll go, now it's either going to break to the downside or break to the upside. But right now we're still in beside this wedge right here. You see it's respecting both the lower trend line and the upper trend line. I'm going to move the stop just a little bit below this moving average. That way, if it comes back down, bounces, that means it's going the wrong direction. It comes back up, probably retest the trend line, then it'll get out of the trade. Same way on the upside, if it comes up, it may get me into get my target before it comes back down, retest the trend line. Right now, we don't know which way it's going to go. It's respecting both of these. And the dollar is still relatively weak. The Australian dollar is still relatively strong. So I'm still favoring the upside of this. It's breaking the top trend line. Coming up near my target. Push up a little bit higher. There's 6, 5, 7 pips right there. 6, 9, 7, 2. And I'm out of the trade. I think I got stopped down the other one. There's the Aussie CAD. New Zealand CAD, I think it was. And I think that one whipsawed me. I think, maybe not. Yeah, I got stopped out on that New Zealand CAD trade. Got whipsawed. I was going short. We had the break, came back up. Just an announcement just took me out of it. Let's see, Aussie new USD. Let's see what we have here. Uptrend, breakthrough. That's the one we just took. New Zealand CAD. That's the one that we just got stopped out of. You win some, you lose some. Right now, you don't know which way it's going to go. Came up just respecting both of these zones. That trade's pretty much done for right now. CAD yen in the gearbox. Let's take a look at CAD yen. Yeah, the Canadian dollar has been in though. It's been in that for a while. Still trying to work its way out of gearbox. Take a look at this one. See our zones. Down red zones, more red than less green, and so we have a downtrend. Arrow down. Here's a rally, here's a base, rally, came back down. Here's the first pullback to a rejection. So this area right here would be an area to be concerned about. And that's pretty much right where this zone is. I like this point right here. This was the first pullback. It did break, and we now have a new trend line. So this is the area that this little area between this pivot and this pivot is the next zone to be tested. Use this pivot. And then we'll draw our trend line from, I like seeing a pivot low. This is the bottom where that basing was, came up, based and went up. So I'm going to use this long extended range candle as an area to start my trend line. I'm going to do it right about in here. So here's the anchor, here's the hit. Come back down, see if it retests the zone. We are in a downtrend, so this would be a contra trend. See where our moving averages are. And in fact, I changed the chart. I got to redraw my trend line. Let's see if I go a little bit lower, it gets a little bit steeper angle. That puts us pretty much right to the corner of this box if it comes back down right underneath this candle. And this is where I found the buyers coming in, right in this area, in this zone. Take this a little, I'm okay taking this thing down just a little bit to the bottom of the zone. If the price comes in here, if it stays in here and can't break through the bottom, there's probably a good chance it's going to go back up again. We are in a downturn, I thought we said. Yep. Got a down arrow. And this could be the beginning of our M. Here's a strong move up. Here's the left shoulder of the M. Come back down, retest it, comes back up. Might have a little bit of a divergence on this, depending on what the moving averages are. CAD yen. Let me see what that looks like here. In fact, our moving averages are all still pointing in the up, no, still going in the up directions. Right now it's testing the 200 moving average. We really don't have the crossover. We had things consolidated right here before it started taking back up, but we don't have the consolidation right now. We're still moving in the upside. And we have a little bit, here's a high, here's a little bit of higher high. So I don't think this thing's quite ready to give it up yet, even though it has a down arrow. It's really having a little bit of a channel here. Right now it's retesting the bottom of the channel. And I like seeing this. This looks like a little bit of an M formation here. So if this thing has your left shoulder, the middle of the M, right shoulder, trend line. No, nothing real clear on this one. The 5-minute Aussie, let's see what that one's saying here. There we go, 15-minute CAD yen. That's one we were looking at. The downside. It's not really a bounce arrow go because it never came back and retagged this. If it would have tagged this zone, then we could have said this was a valid bag entry. This would be the entry right here. It's going, no, price is going up. Let's take a look at a lower time frame. We had a 5-minute entry off of this, little bounce off of this. If it pulls back enough, we may be able to get something out of this. Again, I like to see it pull back, retest this upper trend line a little bit more. And if you look at the heat map, what we're looking at here, we're not looking at a lot of difference between the CAD and the yen on the 5-minute. They're right neck and neck. Small spread here between the CAD's a little bit weaker, yen's a little bit stronger, which gives it room to favoring the downside. Here, they're right in the middle, neck and neck, not a lot of difference. Right in the middle, neck and neck, right in the difference. Not a bad one to stay away from. We don't know which way it's going to go. So from that standpoint, I would pass on this trade. I need a little bit more confirmation. And let's see, New Zealand, US, see what that one looks like. And New Zealand, US, 5-minute chart. Here's the entry. Here's the entry. Here's the target, 9 pip target. Not a lot. I'd see like this again. Like to see a little bit more of a pullback. If you can come back to retest it where the base of this arrow is, that might be a little bit better. That'd be a lot better if we can get the price to come back down and retest this trend line, this moving average. Here's the entry on the 5-minute. This is the entry right here. Let's see, here would be the target. See what it is on the target would be on a higher time frame. It's in the same area or not. Don't see a target on up higher. We know one's there. And if we were to look at this on the trading view chart, I'm about New Zealand USD. I'm on a 15-minute chart. I'm not seeing much of it. This zone was, I figured this, found this zone before. That's still from a couple of days ago. Try to come all the way over here to the, let me take some of this stuff off, clean it up a little bit. Here's our daily 4-hour chart. You see, this is the area where this strong move down came from. It's coming back up to retest this zone. This is a zone that's not showing up on our MT4 platform. Strong move up, right into zones, finding some rejection in this. If it can break through this area here, the next stop on the line is going to be way up. I would say this one right here. It's got to get through this little wick, right? This little wick has got to get through that. Came back down, rejected it. So there's some sellers in here. If sellers are here, if they get all chewed up, then the next round of sellers is going to be up around this area. Come over here, find out where the last wick is. If I can do that. There's the wick right in here. And then actually the next area of the sellers would be right in this area. And then pip-wise, I believe we're looking at, that'd be 21 pips. Nothing real conclusive. But we would be looking at a target of 71.90. Which would bring it right about up to this area right in here. If it can break this, this would be the next area that I'd be looking at for a target. But right now, it's still kind of range bound. And let's see one more. Let's just take a look at one more here. We have that's this CAD Yen 15 minute. That's what we've got. Down arrow. The arrow is going to be at the top of this candle. The entry would be right in there. We're kind of right at the entry, and let's see if we have room. It's only 7 pips. It did break, strong move up. Here's a pivot. And then it made a new low, but it's still holding this area right in here. See this over and over again, where you see a strong move up, you see a rejection, comes back up, breaks the pivot here, forms a second hit on this trend. Now, if this one breaks, it comes right down. This could be a trap because of this little zone right in here. But if it can get through this zone, the next stop is all the way down below. What you don't know is how much if it's going to come back up and retest this zone and break this pivot. I said right now, there's not enough range between the two pairs as far as the strength of the CAD and the yen. There's not enough range to be able to hang your hat on any particular direction right now.
Super quiet, eh?
Yeah, it's been very quiet today. Not a whole lot going on right now. I mean, we had 2 trades. One was a little bit more aggressive, and that's one we got stopped out on. The other one was pretty clean and went right up into it. I like the trades where it breaks through an area and just goes right up to my 5 or 7 pip target. I'm in and out within, once I get in, I'm in and out within 5 or 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. Those are my favorite trades. Just get in, get out. You don't have to think about it anymore, and then wait for the next one. But it's been pretty slow this morning. For Thursday, it's been pretty slow. Maybe a little bit more luck later on.
I guess with the U.S. market not being open yet, too, it's always slower at this time.
It's sort of right between the lunch hour of Europe and the opening bell of the U.S. markets. They may get a little bit more robust from the 9 to 11 o'clock-ish time.
Yeah, a few minutes out from that. Oh.
Yep, I think we're probably about ready to wrap it up. I don't know if anybody's running the other room today or not, but I'm going to be wrapping this thing up here. I'll give another, let's see. Well, it's got another 5 more minutes before the time. See how this candle closes out and see what if it breaks through this little trend here. Again, the yen is not real strong on any particular time frame right now, nor is the CAD. So this is where you can get whipsaw. To get 5 pips when they're back neck to neck like that, sometimes it's hard to do. You get in just enough to get your spread filled, and then you've got break even, then it goes back against you, and eventually it breaks its way out of it. But you're better off in just biding your time and just waiting. There's a strong candle down. Let's see what time frame we're on. We're on the 15-minute. Looks like it's gained a little strength before the U.S. market for the 9 o'clock to from 9 o'clock to 9:30. Oftentimes you'll see some good moves just before the U.S. market opens. These are pre-market moves. This could be a little bit of a head fake in here.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
There are a few people in the room that had mentioned that Nate is supposed to do the 9 o'clock session.
Okay.
There was an announcement 45 minutes ago that there's still a session.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to wrap it up here and let everyone come over there to see what Nate has to say. Actually, I might even join that to see. I don't usually catch them during the middle of the night, so maybe I can catch them today. But it's still kind of, I'm still somewhat coherent here. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. There's nothing really right now. And so, again, thanks everybody for showing up. If Nate's going to join the 9 o'clock session in another room, I would say go ahead and take advantage of that. He's a developer of this software. See what he has to say. Until then, thanks for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 7:30 to 9.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks,
Thanks,
CD.
everybody. See you all
Thanks,
tomorrow.
Eva. Thanks, Christine.
Everybody, God bless.